Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How are you? Big mahalo for listening, and we welcome back our buddy. We had a call with him recently. He has the fattest bass lines on tour in the United States right now. I was just watching a video of him fresh from Philadelphia last night. A total of 8 shows, I believe, under his belt so far on music's most unusual package tour this year, certainly in recent memory in the world of rock. As a reunited Van Halen with David Lee Roth crisscross the country, it's a 40-day U.S.-Canada tour and an exclusive special guest, Kool The Gang, classic American hard rock band with roots in the late 70s and 80s culture teamed with an American funk dance band, roots from the late 60s, but equally a 70s, 80s culture mainstay. A unique pairing we'll learn more about with our buddy who's now got 8 shows to tell us about, Robert Kool Bell. Kool of Kool The Gang. Aloha, my brother.
All right, Dave, how you doing?
I'm giving you a big hug and a high five and sending you some aloha, my friend.
Okay.
I'm proud of you. I was just watching the Jungle Boogie from last night. You had this big grin on your face when the song was starting. It was epic, dude. It was the best video from the whole tour that has made it to the YouTube. Was literally of last night's show in Philadelphia, up close, 1080p HD, and it was you just slamming it, man. Unbelievable. I can't get over it. I can't get over the uniqueness of this tour. Tell me what it's like.
Yeah, we've been having fun. Actually, Buffalo will be our 8th show. We played Philly last night, and we kicked the show off. The tour started back in Louisville, about 10 days ago, and we've been having a ball. We did 2 nights at the Garden in New York City and Detroit and Indianapolis, and we just jamming away. And of course, Van Halen and David Lee Roth are doing their thing. And all the shows have been sold out, so it's been great.
Last time that we talked, it was right before opening night. You guys started, it was first Louisville, then it was Detroit, then it was Indianapolis, then it was Chicago, then you did those pair of dates in New York City at the Garden, incredible
right.
shows, then you did Mohegan Sun, then you did Philly, correct? Do I have it in the right order?
Okay, Mohegan Sun we didn't do.
You guys didn't do that one. Okay, so you didn't get...
Yeah, we had a prior obligation that we couldn't get out of. We tried our best. We had to go to the House of Blues down in Dallas, Texas.
Wow. You get all over. I've been looking at some of the videos that have been shot over the last few years. That's cool. So you jumped off. You didn't do that one gig. I get it. So that's why you have the different number of nights that you.
Right. I was wondering. Yeah.
No, I get it.
We didn't do Mohegan Sun. Yeah.
Right now I get it. So okay. Well, I've been following the tour, as you can tell, closely. But unfortunately, there aren't as many Kool The Gang videos shot each night. So that's why I get so excited that this really bitchin' Jungle Boogie, the Jungle Boogie that just got shot, it looks so good. You look so happy. Since the tour started, how much time have you spent with David Lee Roth, who is the gentleman who brought this tour together for you?
Yeah, well, usually before the tour, when we were rehearsing, we spent a lot of time because, we're putting the show together. They were doing their thing, and we were doing ours. But I see David when he comes in. He comes in right before we go on, and he gets ready for the show, and it's been a good tour so far. Run into Eddie and Alex and Wolfgang, and we're just having a good time out here.
Have you connected with these guys? Do you feel like cool that these are friends of yours now after doing this many shows, or do you not get to spend that much time with each other?
We do, and I would say there's a friendship building here. Of course, the timing of when they do their sound check, we do ours, but we usually try to hang to see most of their show before we have to move on to the next city. So it's been great, but we got another almost 5 months out here, or 4 months, 4.5. So I'm quite sure, the days to come that we'll be doing a little bit more hanging out and you never know what David might have up his sleeve, you know?
I like that. I've been watching the videos closely, and have you heard his? I'm sure you have. He does these nightly raps where he sings a little bit of Hollywood swing, and he tells a story of Van Halen having covered that song in their early days. He brings that up on stage. Have you heard him do that?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
How does that make you feel when you see this guy who is literally introducing Kool and the Gang to so many new people every single night when he does that?
Well, we feel good about it. I mean, because when we first got together at rehearsal out in L.A., you know, he and I were talking, and he says, "Hey, Kool, you know, Kool and the Gang and Van Halen, we were the party band of the 80s. They were the rock party band, and we were the pop funk party band." And he said, "Oh, yeah, so it's almost 60% ladies." I said, "Well, yeah, I didn't know that." He said, "Yeah, and then what better song than Ladies' Night? And what better group than Kool and the Gang?" So he said, "Hey, I saw you guys at Glastonbury last year, and you rocked about 60,000 at the rock festival, Glastonbury Rock Music Festival, and I told my guys, hey, we got to bring Kool and the Gang to come out with us." Of course, some people said, "Why Kool and the Gang?" "Yeah, Kool and the Gang." He said, "Let's go out and have a party." And so far, that's what we've been doing for the first 7 to 8 shows, yeah.
Do you ever see him off to the side of the stage watching you during the set?
Oh, yeah, he checks us out on the side there, and from time to time. And then, depending on at the end of the show, we're still there. You know, he, say, "Hey, good show, guys," that sort of a thing. So, yeah, that kind of thing is building there from show to show.
You know what else is cool? When you watch the Van Halen videos, you mentioned Ladies' Night. He does a lot of references to Ladies' Night during the show. He's constantly going, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah, he's doing his lead off thing, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? How he's doing that. That's all because of your song. I mean, yeah. Well, he's seemed to be a fan of the band, and of course, we respect what they do, and especially with Eddie, and one of the top guitarists in the world, and that blistering solo he did on the Michael Jackson song "Beat It," and epic, huh?
Everything else that we're doing has just been great.
That is an epic solo, huh, that he did with Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Huge moment. That's cool you bring that up. Have you had, I was going to ask you, have you had interactions with Eddie? What's your relationship with Eddie Van Halen like?
Well, yeah, we talk also, all this happened during rehearsal. And he was just talking about, again, jamming with Kool and the Gang and a lot of music. And our guitarist spent a little bit more time with him because, he's playing one of Eddie's endorsed guitars, Shawnee Mac.
That's awesome.
The solos that he's doing on Misled is
on an Eddie guitar.
It's one of Eddie's guitars.
I like that. So there's an additional crossover is what you're pointing out.
Yeah.
I like that. That's very cool. I didn't know that he's doing that. So on the tour, do you run into Eddie or his son? How about Wolfgang? Has he taken any kind of interest in having you guys out there?
Oh, yeah, he said, "Hey, man, it's good to have you guys on the show with us." We see Wolfgang quite a bit after sound check, And, of course, like I said, we see Eddie from time to time. David comes in a little later, but we see David as well.
You see,
we run into Eddie and Alex and Wolfgang quite a bit when we come in, because when we come in, they're just finishing their sound check.
What's Wolfgang like? He seems like a really neat kid.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's very nice, very open, and, talks about the music and about the fact, that we're working together and touring together. And he talks to my son from time to time, because if you saw Jungle Boogie last night, the young guy that was rapping is my son.
Dude, that is so cool how you incorporate that into that classic song. You make it so multi-generational.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? By sticking your son there. I mean, I love watching him. I've watched him on several videos. Last night was the first one, however, that was a real close-up video, yeah? And you could really see him working his thing.
He was having a good time last night.
Put him up.
That's it.
You know who else needs a plug in the band is Michael Ray, while we're talking about folks.
Yeah, Michael, he's a wild man. We call him the wild man.
And with the somersaults and everything, how does he just, I mean, is that just a bit that he does on his own?
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it for years, you know. So, Mike also played with Sun Ra back in the day. So they used to do, the different choreographs, headstands, and this and that, so he kind of brings that with us when he's performing with us.
That's funny, because I also note that dissonant sort of jazz sound that is still... I noticed that, thinking of that video, when you guys riff and kind of get off into your solos on the horns, it has a really nice kind of improvisational feel, like the early Kool and the Gang had so much of.
Right. Yes, we do. Yeah.
I mean, you haven't lost that flavor, I guess. When you mention Sun Ra, I still hear that when you get into a jam, you let the jam get very dissonant and have the chance for the notes and the flavor that is played on the horns to really go out, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they get a chance to stretch out a little bit before we bring it back to the funk.
Oh, and you are laying it down too, dude, with that groove. It is absolutely ferocious. What do the other members in the band think, Kool, now that you've done the seven shows in, your 8 shows on the tour, 7 shows that you guys have been a part of? Have they equally been inspired by what's happening? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all the guys are happy, to be a part of this. Our keyboardist, Curtis Williams, and of course, our drummer, Tim Horton, and, Lavelle, who does the background vocals and some leads. We're all having a good time. And some of the guys listen to Van Halen coming up, everybody heard the big hit, Jump. So it's been good.
Because everyone looks so happy when you look at the pictures, and you guys have there's an energy to the current lineup of the band. And I wondered from the beginning, because it was neat, I got to talk to you before the tour started, and now you've done several shows. You're playing in these big venues. Has the set have you required adjustments to the set based on the size of the place and the playing before them?
Yeah, well, we try to make sure that we get a sound check, because when you're playing venues that size, and you got to make sure that your monitors or your in-ears are working properly, and that your sound guy, your front house guy, get a chance to EQ and do what he needs to do for a house that size. But once you kind of get into it, most of the venues that we're playing are around the same size, being 18 to 22,000 seat arenas, and a lot of them are basketball arenas, so they all are made similar to some degree. So that helps, because at least you know what you're dealing with from city to city.
Yeah, absolutely. I get, and totally, and that's a good point. My point was more is playing the Kool and the Gang show in a gigantic arena as opposed to a club or a more intimate venue, and the fact that you're playing before another band, so people are walking in, you're sort of like you're dealing with a unique situation. Have you moved around the songs or changed the kind of songs that you're delivering as the show has the tour has progressed?
Yeah, yes, we have, because we only have 50 minutes, so we try to get into the energy songs, start right off from the top, and we go right into sort of cool rock, I call it, vibe in the beginning of the show with Tonight and Emergency and Misled, So yeah, we put together a energized 50 minutes. Because our show normally is about 90 minutes to 2 hours when we're doing our own concert. So.
Well, that's why I was, when I was first talking to you and sort of hoping that you would stick Summer Madness in there. Now that I've seen the shows, that's why I asked that question about adjusting the set to the venues.
Oh, okay.
Because now I get what you meant when you were thinking, like, you know, we may play it at a few shows. And now that I see the kind of places and how big it is and that people are walking in, I agree. I understand why you would be hesitant to lay down something like that, because it'd be very difficult for that crowd to really even appreciate the majesty of what that live song is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, then you're talking about, 98 to 99% of Van Halen fans. Now, they might recognize, Celebration or Ladies Night, Fresh maybe, but some of our other songs like Summer Madness and some of the other songs, they have not been into Kool the Gang, they probably wouldn't even recognize what those songs are.
It's really weird. It's always fascinated me, the early Kool the Gang rocked so hard. And on that note of people not being familiar with it, if those folks heard Love the Life You Live, the original version of that, with that really psychedelic midsection, the keyboard solo, your ferocious bass line holding that whole thing together in the middle section where it just gets out there, they would love that. It's so funny that Kool and the Gang rocked so hard with your early funk from 69 to 76, that early period. And those fans, it's just odd because those fans that, like you say, 98% of them are Van Halen fans. They know the later Kool and the Gang that were big hits in their lifetime, but they just were not turned on to that stuff. Had they been turned on to Love the Life You Live, heard those kind of jams, there'd be no question. Because when you think of that song today, do you realize what a kind of psychedelic quality that music had back then?
Yeah, definitely. Those we call it the Kool the Gang stretching out songs. Love the Life You Live and Funky Man and NT and Good Times and all the things we did back during that time.
NT,
because
dude.
At that time we didn't really have a lead singer.
Right.
So we were like more on the
instrumental side.
Instrumental side, yeah, the jazz funk side of it all.
And the horns. The thing about it is you had these massive horn lines back then. It was almost like instead of the singer, you had the horn line. It was...
Well, I often say that the horns were our singers back during the day, back in the early 70s.
That's what I'm talking about, my brother. That is what I'm talking. And you mentioned NT, the bass line in that thing where you just like burn it, boom. You have that one note. It's just like you just let that thing just kind of ring out in that thing. It's Yeah, that's one of the songs, and the drum beat of NT was sampled a lot. A lot of the rappers really got into those tracks that we did in the 70s and pick a little piece here, piece of this, piece of that, and doing their thing. Yeah, right. I mean, a lot of that stuff has been, and that's when you mentioned your son, getting back to your son, it's vital that you are able to reclaim those songs by way of, because the sampling is nice, it complements you, but it's even cooler when you can redo Jungle Boogie live the way you do and bring your boy into it, which gives it this multi-generational perspective. Not just that he's your son, but the way stylistically it makes Jungle Boogie much more contemporary. Not that it needs it, in my opinion, because I would rather it just be the solid song that it always was. But when I hear him do it the way he does it, considering it's 2012, I applaud you for integrating it, because it takes you guys to a more multi-generational level. Definitely.
It gives it a slightly different flavor, but still on the boogie side, but it gives it the extra little flavor,
It does. I mean, and boogie, that's the word, and I hear David Lee say it so many times. He likes saying it. You've heard him say it. He goes, boogie. He goes, I like saying that.
Yeah, he's having fun, because it was kind of like his baby, in terms of us being a part of this whole tour, and so It's been great.
You said in one of these interviews, I've been studying some other recent interviews you've done, and you said in one of them, a real poignant quote, you said, it kind of makes David Lee a hero because he called it.
Yeah. He saw it, and he had the vision, as he says sometimes, and when he mentioned us on the live show, when he said, this voice came to me, and it was all about the boogie, when he does his thing. So it's like I said, it's been great.
I love it when he does it. This voice came across this in the wind, and it said, it's ladies' night, and the feeling was right. And there's a party here, a party there, a party everywhere.
You got it down now.
Bro, I've been watching. Can I just tell you, just so that you understand, I have YouTubed and searched every single Kool and the Gang video that has been shot on this tour, bruh. I have looked every single one on this tour. There have not been enough. That's why I got excited about last night's high-quality shoot of Boogie, which came out so good. But there just haven't been enough. But I've been watching all the Van Halen ones, too. I've seen almost the whole tour, thanks to YouTube, because they're also letting people video. So it's nice to see this, and I guess that's what makes it so special. Have you ever, when you think of your life, I know you mentioned in another interview that, and it's a great point you mentioned, that on an international package, you would be booked with rock more often, so that on an international scale, it's not so unusual for you. You mentioned Uriah Heep. I forget who else you mentioned, but outside of the U.S. that happens. But in the United States, can you ever remember a time that you guys have been booked with someone so incongruous to you?
No, this is the first time, in the United States. This tour with Van Halen is the very first time we been out like with a rock group and on a tour. I mean, the groups that we played with over in Europe, there were festivals, so you might have, like I said, a Def Leppard or Uriah Heep, or even did a show one time with Meatloaf, Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. So, but it's in festival style. And then you're talking about 20 to 30 to 40, 50,000 people, talking about huge audiences as well.
And only one gig, but it shows you what you're trying to say is, like, in Europe the audience is different. They tolerate more diversity on a package. It's more common
right
on a package. But that's, I guess, why I can't get over it as a fan. I hope you can tell I am a Kool and the Gang fan. I'm a fan of the early period where the horns really drove the band. I'm a fan of the hits, and I'm a huge Van Halen fan. But to see the combination, it's surreal. It's very exciting. Does it make you? Are you excited to go to work each night because the tour is really as innovative and as history making as it is?
Oh yeah, definitely. We're hyped up every night, looking forward for the next concert. Like you said, it's historic in terms of a group like ourselves and coming together with Van Halen. Again, it's surprising a lot of people. So, we look forward to each show, to go out and do our thing and look forward to watching them do their thing.
They give you a good video screen usage, I've noticed. You got a lot of lights. It makes you just want to, as an industry person, you just want to give David Lee Roth a handshake, a high five, I commend him. I have no problem buying tickets. I told you before, we're coming to Tacoma, Vancouver. Has there been any talk of extending the tour to beyond the last date? New Orleans, I guess, is the last date. Is there more dates?
There have been some talk, indefinite yet. There's been some talk. There's some interest in Europe and other parts of the world, but nothing definite yet. But who knows? Next couple of weeks, we might be talking about the second leg.
Have you heard anyone mention any chance of playing in Hawaii?
Not yet, but I would love to come to Hawaii. I always like coming to Hawaii. That would be great, though, if we can take this tour to, do a couple shows and on the various islands there in Hawaii, yeah.
Oh, it would be great to have it in Honolulu. Well, as I mentioned, we're going to be coming, and I'll be covering 2 shows on the West Coast. I'll see you guys in the Seattle area and Tacoma, and then we're going to also catch you in Vancouver. Do you think maybe we could set up, I'll work with Tia on it. I'd love to meet the other guys in the band. Maybe if I could come to the sound check, and would you be willing to introduce me to some of these other guys?
You work with Tia on that, and she'll get with my tour manager and see what we can work out.
Yeah, just something. And at the very least, if we can't, because I understand if Live Nation doesn't want to have people on the premises, maybe we can meet you at your hotel. Just record a short interview.
We probably can do that. It's much easier at the hotel because that's we can control that.
Yeah, then maybe we could do that. We could do it at the hotel. I just would like to meet some of these other guys to put it in the piece that we record and just get it on tape. Us meeting them, and because the band is outstanding right now. I cannot compliment you enough. You're doing a great job every night. You sound so good. You look so good. Give a plug to that brown rig that you're using. What are you playing?
I got an Eden, but my guitar is a Azan. Yeah, it's a custom guitar by a guy named Mike Zahn on guitar. But the bass rig is the Eden rig.
Sounds so good. Sounds so good. You using anything else special in your rig that you want to give a plug to?
No, like I said, Zahn, Eden, and they use a equalizer called the Avalon.
You have such a
helps on that bottom end.
Say that again.
It's like an equalizer called the Avalon that my tour manager or my technician put together. That I want to go through that into the Eden and then into the house. It's called Avalon.
Has a very fat and rich sound.
Yeah, it gives that nice fat bottom that we all like.
Yes, we do. Who doesn't like a fat bottom? Cool. Come on now. Listen to my man.
I'm talking about in bass.
That's my boy. Final question before I let you go, because I look forward to seeing you in person and thanking you for doing this tour, and thanking David Lee too, because I'm very proud of him for bringing you.
Thank you.
But you're welcome. But this question would be: the Boys and Girls Clubs, they get special love on your website. How have they earned that place of recognition in your life?
Well, I mean, we must have been almost 6-7 years ago now. We were inducted in the Boys and Girls Club Hall of Fame. And we have a couple shows we're doing on some of our off days for the Boys and Girls Club on this tour, actually. But Kool the Gang, back in the early days, we used to rehearse at the Boys and Girls Club in Jersey City. When we were youngsters, we would rehearse, and then we'd clean the gym, sweep the floors. And we kind of grew up a little bit in the Boys and Girls Club. At that time, it was just the Boys Club back in Jersey City, and I'm talking about mid-'60s.
And they played a role in helping the band have a place to come together.
Yeah.
And so you give back. It's a give back.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's cool. Well, I wanted to make sure that we give that a plug because I think it's important. I see that there, and it says to me, wow, you must have a lot of appreciation for that.
Oh, yeah, we do, yeah.
It's beautiful to see. Cool. I hope you've enjoyed talking. Has this been okay? How was this interview? You've been doing a bunch. Was this okay? Be honest with me.
Yeah.
Be brutally honest.
Right. I mean, yes, you know the history, when people come up and say songs like, NTO, chocolate, buttermilk, sea of tranquility, breathing soul, and all that stuff out of the sun. A lot of people don't know that unless they're gang heads. I remember John Coltrane. We can go on and on.
Man, those were two. It just was one of the most important things that helped me get into funk as a younger cat because I didn't live it then. But when Polydor did that re-release in the early '90s, that's really what I know. You had bad experience when they did the new record in 2007, but I know that in the early years, at least in the '90s, when they did that repackaging, it really helped younger people to find their way to you and realize the power of that early period of the band. There's no question that 69 to 76 is an epic period for you guys.
Right.
And
most definitely.
And when just do me a favor until I see him, because I hope that we'll be able to. I'd like to arrange, like I said, just to meet everybody quickly, do an interview with you, but just to say hi to some of these cats on tape. Please give DT a big hug and tell him I just love watching him. I love his voice. He sounds so good. He sounds so nice as he's sort of working the crowd and stuff each night.
Yeah, we call him the master of ceremonies. That's what DT always had. That way back since the beginning, when we, like I said, it was the gang thing, it wasn't the lead singer thing. So I will tell him.
Yeah, man. No, it's been beautiful. He looks good. I love his outfit. He just I smile when I see him taking the stage with that thing in the videos. He looks sharp. Everybody with your white outfits last night was looking sharp. It was, okay. I high five you. I look forward to seeing you, brother. Thank you for doing this.
Okay, then.
You're the man. I give you a big hug. You're so patient with me. I hope it wasn't a pain in the ass. I'll take good care. What's your shirt size, too? I got to send you a real nice shirt.
Well, I do large X to XL.
Double X?
No, just
XL. 1X.
XL, yeah.
Okay. And you don't wear T-shirts, do you? I'll get you a T-shirt, but I'll get you a nicer one if you'd like a button-down shirt. Would you like that? What would you rather have?
I do the T-shirts and the button-down, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take good care of you. You be safe. You travel safe.
Okay, you too.
And much respect to you, my brother. I look forward to shaking your hand and thanking you for all the music you brought us. You're a hell of a contribution. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
You be safe, brother.
Okay, you too.
Aloha.
All right, aloha.